Hello everyone. This is going to be the last series of videos in the King's Gambit anti-Gambit guide section. And today we're going to look at King's Gambit Declined, and the most played variation in King's Gambit Declined lines is the Falkbeer Gambit. So we're going to look at the Falkbeer Gambit today. Now before I begin, I must point out that there are numerous videos on this topic available on YouTube. There's also lots and lots of material on the internet on Falkbeer Gambit, and so I urge you to look at that. Now, before we begin to analyze the position in Falkbeer Gambit, let's briefly talk about the idea behind King's Gambit. Now, as we know from all theory books, perhaps the most popular of which is Reuben Fine's book called Ideas Behind Chess Openings. We know that there are three basic rules behind any chess opening. Rule number one, you take control of the center. Rule number two, you develop your pieces rapidly into the optimum squares. And rule number three, you castle. So, well, castling is a part of developing the rook. So basically, it comes down to two rules: central squares, the e5, e4, and d5, d4 squares from black's perspective, and developing your pieces very, very rapidly. In King's Gambit, which is e4, e5, f4, white challenges black's center right away. And so if e takes f4, then two things have happened. First of all, black has given up his center, so the central e pawn is now no more an e5, thence controlling the d4 square. And at the same time, since this e pawn has been pushed up and away from e file, the f pawn, the f7 square, becomes the weakest link in black's camp. And so white has a number of strategies here, but all those strategies focus on two primary goals. One is to flank attack the f7 square, and it's not a flank opening. King's Gambit is not a flank opening. So at the same time, the other idea that white has is to rip open both these files up and to attack the king, preventing him to castle short or long. And at some point, white wishes that black's queen comes to e7 in front of the king, and this rook on h1 or the rook on a1 can come down here to the e file, open e file, and attack the queen, thus gaining the queen. So this is the basic idea. Now, if we go back to the e4 and e5 structure, we learn that black's reply e5, which gets the most score. Another very good move is c5, which is the ultimate anti-gambit weapon, so to speak. Well, there is this Smith-Morra gambit that can be played by white if you play Sicilian defense. But anyways, these two are considered the best moves for black. And in both these moves, what is happening, and this I think is the most important point to note, what is happening is that black is replying with symmetrical development. So that's the main idea behind black's counterplay. And so after, I believe after thinking for a long time and lots of variations considered, After f4, black came up with the move d5. Now if you notice, this is total symmetry. And Reuben Fine says in his book that symmetrical opening always benefits black because unless there is a decisive material or positional advantage, white cannot claim any superiority. So this is King's Gambit declined. e4, e5, f4, d5. So you can see this is very symmetrically played, and the idea is to, instead capturing on the f4 square, is to offer a pawn instead on the d5 square. This is called the Falkbeer Gambit. Now the main line, the main continuation here is e takes d5. Because if f takes e5, then the flank attack idea comes into full play. And we have seen in Chigorin's attack that queen can come to h4, thus flank attacking the king. F takes e5 is a blunder actually, because queen h4, and well, if white plays g3, then queen takes e4, check. Then forking the rook with a check. And if king e2, instead king moves, then queen takes e4 again, check. And now if you calculate here deeply, white can easily win the queen. How? After queen takes e4, check, king f2, the only square it's forced, bishop c5, check, king g3, again forced, and now queen takes e5, check, and king f3, moving back because the g3 square is no longer available for the king because the bishop on c8 has this open diagonal. So king f3, and now queen h5, check. The king has to move and the queen is gone. So f takes e5 is a wrong move. The correct move would be e takes d5. And the main continuation for black from here on is e4. Now let's pause here just for a moment and look at what black has accomplished so far. First of all, you can see that this pawn on d5 is blocking this bishop from coming to c4 square and attacking the f7 pawn. This pawn can be pushed, but then tempo is wasted. So black with this move, with the Falkbeer Gambit, Countergambit, has first of all accomplished a defense of the weakest square in his game. Number two, now if white has the idea of flank attacks from here, then black also has the ideas of flank attacks open for him now. And that's the whole point of Falkbeer Countergambit. Both these bishops are looking towards the king. Let me just come to the bishops here, and let me just select a different color. So this bishop can come here, looking towards the king, actually looking towards the queen. This bishop can come here, looking directly towards the king. Also, this pawn can be captured very quickly. This knight can move out of the way in just one move. And then the rook can come into heavy play on these open files. So what black has accomplished here is massive counterplay for himself. With Falkbeer's Gambit, black basically replies in a symmetrical manner and secures tactical opportunities for itself, perhaps better tactical opportunities than White has in this position.